When is it not harried and hurried in here?
Man,
it's how long was since our guy Matthew left us?
We're not going there, buddy. It was seamless forever. The only thing not working right now is your camera, which I know breaks your heart. But I'm just saying, we can all hear. Everybody's on. Right, we're good. Ira has a look of consternation that everybody can see.
Well, we can't see Corey.
Well, we're going to see. I'm looking right at him. You can look right at him. We're going to get him
as long as you two can see me.
You guys can see the reflection of Corey in my eyes, in my gaze.
We're going to get him in the shot. In the interim, he'll just be a ghost voice. For whatever reason, that other camera has been giving us issues. Everything else is fine. Audio, fine. And for that, I would say, yay, sausage.
I don't know if this meets Ben's standards. I mean, Registers has a standard.
Right.
They uphold the standard. The standard is the standard.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ben may not be thrilled about this situation. I mean, I feel like,
this is like a Jimmy Dean hour. This ain't a Register sausage hour.
Taking shots. Sorry. Yeah. Wow.
The Register sausage is, guys, I hope you enjoyed it for the 4th like we did. You can get Register sausage online at registermeats.com, have it delivered, or if you live in this part of the country, you can probably have it in your grocery store. If they don't have it, complain a little bit. I went in July 3rd. I tweeted the picture July 3rd at our local Publix. No jalapeno cheddar, no andouille. The July 4th
You tweeted out a picture. You were a Karen.
I was not.
You did it.
Yeah. I was outraged. What is this, Publix?
Yeah.
What is this?
Man.
Did you berate anyone?
No, I didn't accost anyone. It was pretty busy on the day before July 4th. But no, I think that's a good sign, right?
It was sold out.
Other sausage brands were aplenty.
Oh, you could have gotten any of them.
Oh, yeah.
All of them.
But not Register.
Jimmy Dean, they give away for free.
What is it with you? Are you getting a side hustle with Jimmy Dean?
I just made fun of Jimmy Dean.
I know, but like you mentioned him 3 times now.
I can't. Hey, you know what? I can't name 5 other sausage companies.
That's the only one that pops
to mind.
Yeah. I just thought of a third, but I'm not going to
say it.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to do what you just did.
I'll besmirch Jimmy Dean all day.
Yeah, apparently. But yay, sausage. Thanks, Register Sausage. And we promise by the next segment, Corey's picture will be in frame.
Fine.
We'll be good to go.
I'm shirtless right now anyway.
Yeah. And nobody wants to see that. Half naked in here trying to do a show. But I was wearing that nice spiffy shirt that I complimented him on last time.
It's a different shirt. Similar
you've gone whole new style on us now. This is a summer of the new Ira.
Summer looks. Yeah. Let's talk about that for a while.
Is there a brand?
I don't know, man. Kim helps me out.
Corey and I are impressed.
Yeah, cool.
It's just you don't have to get defensive. Why are you getting defensive?
I don't care. You guys know me long enough to know I don't give a.
I know you don't care. I'm just. It's a compliment. You got to be able to take a compliment.
Switch seats, Ira.
I appreciate it.
Care.
Let's move
on. Somebody asked if this were the last headlines before practice. I don't think it is.
No,
because we still have.
There won't be one next week unless y'all do it solo. But then there's one after that that's before practice.
Yeah, so we have.
That'll be dicey because that's the kickoff week.
Yeah, so that Tuesday, I was wondering what we were going to do. Yeah. Just for everybody that doesn't know, we'll be off to Charlotte for ACC kickoff, and that is going to be on the what is the date on that? The
22nd,
something like that. And they practice the 24th, we think.
Right.
And so, and our headlines would be smack dab in between
on the 23rd.
So that would be difficult. We'll figure out some sort of scheduling arrangement. I don't know if we're going to have that or not. It really, bottom line is this. We'll have content, obviously, from Charlotte to carry the week. But because it's a unique set of circumstances, we never had it where as soon as we get done at ACC kickoff, literally with almost 24 hours, 48 hours, then they're already practicing. So we've never had that before. It'll be unique. The bottom line is it's fun to be able to talk like that, about that. The fact that it's July, 8th, 9th today, it's already here. And I'm eager, just like everybody else is. I was reading the boards. Believe that, guys. How about that? I was reading the boards. Yeah, I was reading the boards recently over at Warchant.com. If you're not signed up, get signed up. What are you waiting on? Football season's almost here. You should have already done it. You could have taken advantage of the buck deal ages ago, but all that. Anyhow, the point would be I can see all of the members there are excited, too, because they're asking certain questions about who's going to do what and what do we think of this. And I'm right there with them. I'm like reading the question and answering in my head, and then I didn't post.
You got to post.
I didn't post, but I almost jumped in. I almost jumped in to post a little something about the upcoming football season and how eager I, too. And I actually think that it's not the most intriguing. That one where I was saying on the air that I thought Mike needed to win double-digit games or else he would be behind the 8 ball in recruiting. That was the 10-win season 2 years ago. that I was really eagerly anticipating because I was nervous. I thought Mike was a good coach, and I didn't want him to be, as I call it, avalanche, too far behind the 8 ball to ever get caught back up. And if he'd had a bad season, even though there were circumstances that were not his fault, I don't know that we'd be talking about Mike Norvell right now in the way that we are. So that was more intriguing to me than this upcoming season. But these do posit different questions. This is a very different thing. Now you've got to sustain excellence and continue to strive forward, even in the wake of the frustrations of what happened at the end of the year. You still went 13-0. You're still a top 15 team. You're still a program that a lot of people think will make the playoffs. So you have some weighty expectations.
I also think there's a healthiness to it. I mean, just from talking to people, fans I talk to from time to time, a lot of people are not expecting this team to be what last year's team was, which I think is healthy. Last year you had so many guys back, so many guys who have played so much football, so many guys who have proven it at the highest level that, you expected to win 11, 12 games. I mean, that was the expectation. This year, this team could win 11 or 12 games. It wouldn't shock me at all, but it also could fall short of that. And I think it's good that from the fans I've talked to, most people recognize that. Like nobody, whether it's because they don't believe in DJ, or it's because they think that the receivers aren't going to be what they need to be, or they're concerned that the defense won't be quite as good after losing all those draft picks. It seems like there's I think it's healthy, some healthy just conservatism in terms of what people are expecting from this season.
I think it also helps that college football's changed, man. Like clearly last year you had to go 13-0 and you still might miss the playoff. This year going into the season, you can go 10-2 and make the playoff. As long as you get to Charlotte, you can make the playoff. If you win that game in Charlotte, you will make the playoff. So I think maybe you have a couple missteps early. There's not as much pressure week to week anymore. We'll see how that feels as a college football fan as we go. But when there's 12 spots available, and if you win your conference you're in, then,
it's not all or
you
nothing.
You want to win at Notre Dame, but it doesn't derail your season if you don't. Because it's not an ACC game.
The only problem is, that's true. But you are under pressure to win your conference because the ACC ain't going to get the benefit of the doubt. So if you don't win your conference, even if you have a great season, there's no guarantee you're making that playoff.
But I guess
see a lot of at-larges from the ACC.
I don't think
probably
so. I don't
not.
think it's happening.
Probably not. But I guess my pushback to that is like if you're in Charlotte playing for the ACC championship,
yes, of course,
good season, man.
Yeah, well, you should also
good season,
right? And it's in your hands at that point.
Correct. You're in a playoff game.
But I am saying if you go 10-2 and you're not the one in Charlotte,
well, correct.
You're
not going to get in the playoff.
You're not going to get in the playoff.
But I'm saying you still wouldn't. I would hope Florida State fans have already leapt to that point.
No, it's not a bad year.
10-2 seasons, like, come on, man.
No, it's not a bad year. It would be interesting because what would happen is record-wise, you'd say, good season, another 10-win season, another but it would be disappointing at the same time because you wouldn't make the playoff.
Yeah, and just looking at our chat right now, I see that you can't really say that there's any homogeneous.
Yeah, sure.
Standard. There's no set feeling from fans. Our guy Toby comes back. I expect to lose no more than one game. Mike says if this team doesn't go 11-1, they're going to go undefeated. So he's only got those two options. Somebody else, Noble comes back later, says 8-4, 9-3. I guess my point is, I think last year it was pretty universally expected that this team was going to win 11, 12 games. And this year, I think there's more people who are leaving some room open that this may not be.
With that.
And look, man, I'm not trying
to do.
I'm not trying to downplay this team. I just think we also have to be cognizant of the fact that there are question marks. There's more questions on this team. Could be as much or more talent, but there are definitely more questions compared to what we saw last year.
Kind of fun to do this then, though. If you're one of those people who says, and this is just a conversation, it's not an argument, but if you're one of those people who say, I think they go 8-4. All right, well, who are the 4 losses to? And you don't have to be right. I mean, we all guess before the season, but 4 losses sounds a little excessive. It means you kind of lost every game against anybody who's any good at all. Right? Doesn't mean you lost every one of those.
But you do have losable games. I didn't think they had 4 losable games last year.
That's correct. You're right. You could lose to SMU. You could lose, I suppose.
Miami for sure.
Oh, well,
you could lose at Notre Dame.
Be favored there. Yeah,
you
no problem.
Lose to Clemson. Those are losable
And also,
games.
Last year, you would have never thought in a million years, even in hindsight, that Boston College was a losable game.
Right.
Well, Boston College had the ball at midfield down by 2.
Should have won the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's college football now. That there will be a game that you think you should cruise to that will be harder than you think, that will end up being losable in the fourth quarter.
And
they won all those.
And some of these losable games that we think
you win by 30
blow
points.
Somebody out.
Yeah.
Yes. When we were talking about the amount of games on the schedule that are losable, the percentage was much higher this year. You could lose to SMU. You could lose to Memphis. They've got a great offense. If you do, that's not a good loss, but you could lose that game.
You could lose to Georgia
You could lose to Georgia Tech. You could lose to Miami. You could lose to Clemson. You could lose to Notre Dame. You could lose to Florida if you don't play well. I don't know where their head's going to be at, but you could.
Right, and I think that's the difference. The if you don't play well, I think last year there were a lot of teams they did not play well at BC. They still won the game. They did not play well against Pitt. They still won the game.
Yeah.
Their margin for error was so much higher on offense against Florida. They did nothing. They still won the game. So that's the difference now. Is I think that margin for error.
You do that. You have offensive days like they had against Pitt or Florida. Now we know what happened with Florida and why. But anyhow,
Pitt, missing all their pass catchers.
Yeah, and guys were dropping passes when they were throwing to them. You had one guy come through for you and Ja'Kai Douglas. But you have days like that now. You can lose. You could lose, and you probably should have lost to Clemson. Same thing if you don't get the turnover, the scoop and score, which is amazing. So they did win all of the games that were borderline,
and that's what has to happen to go 13-0.
Absolutely.
But even
what was the point?
Well, the point was that at 11-2.
I'm saying what was the point of going 13-0?
Yeah.
It didn't matter. Might as well lost all those games.
Now, if they go 13-0, we feel like there's a good chance they're going to.
There's a good chance they're going to be on the road for a playoff game if they go 13-0. They'll be number 10.
Well, they'd get a bye is what they'd get after going undefeated and winning the ACC.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. They'd have to, right?
They'd get a bye, so they would already be on to the next round.
Don't go 13-0. Don't go 12-0 and lose that ACC championship game, though. You're either out or you're on the road playing Alabama.
Legitimately feels like you could go 12-0, lose the ACC championship game, and maybe not get a bid. Maybe not even get. They're like, 8-4 Ole Miss, guys.
Yeah,
feels like 8-4 Ole Miss.
Kirk and the boys at their big screen, on week 9.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I'm not guaranteeing Florida State gets in, even if they go 12-1.
They started when Florida State is 6-0. They're like, guys, I'm not so sure about this Florida State team.
No.
They should troll. They should do it.
Oh my God!
Like at 4 games in, Kirk's like, I don't know. I know that Mississippi State's 2-2. Yeah. But this league, guys, this league is so damn difficult. I mean, would you not take Mississippi State over 4-0 Florida State at this point?
Yeah, everybody always talks about Washington State has the flag at every game day set.
Yeah.
And we've talked about what the game day situation is going to be in Dublin. What if an FSU fan takes upon themselves to just go to every game day set and just be the angry FSU fan?
Just have it.
Just a sign every game. Just a constant presence. It doesn't have to be the same person, but always an FSU FSU presence in every game day set, no matter where they're at.
You hold up like a Kirk clown.
Well, yeah, probably
sign, not. But you could do the great snub of 23 or something.
You could be creative.
Yeah, come up with something creative, but it needs to be the same sign every time. So
if
people know
you are a diehard Florida State fan and independently wealthy, done working,
and you'll be in Dublin.
Yeah.
Take it upon yourself.
You got to be in Dublin first.
Do it. Hold that flag on high and do the service. The
problem
good deed.
is,
show them at the Army Navy.
You wouldn't be able to go to all the Florida State games because you'll be at Georgia, Tennessee.
Sometimes we got to sacrifice.
Yeah, that's right. We would love it.
Waving a huge Florida State flag at Georgia, Tennessee is where it's at. Where it's a precursor to when we join the SEC.
That's
most
true.
of the fans don't want to see. But
maybe it'll be don't get political. The upside down Florida State flag. that way we'll know what you're talking about.
Seminole Headlines 93.3, Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. We'll endeavor during the break to get Corey in frame and see if we can make this work.
Give you what you want.
There you go. Back in a moment.
Conditioning system doesn't check with you before it takes a break. That's why we're always ready to help. Any day, anytime, anywhere. And with our annual service agreement, there are no overtime charges. Ever. At Verno Heating and Air, we will always be there for you.
Verno Heating and Air Conditioning.
License CAC 1816186.
I'm Caleb. I'm the lawn supervisor at Paul's Termite and Pest Control, and I really do love my job. Paul's has created an incredible work environment that always puts our customers' needs first. Their needs are our concerns, and my particular job of improving the health of North Florida lawns is something I truly enjoy. I'm an outdoor person, and I get to be outside all day, watching the lawns run through the stages full of weeds to weedless to lush, grass-filled landscapes is very rewarding. I'm proud to represent Paul's.
I'm Jay. Having the privilege to work with people like Caleb and all of our employees is truly an honor. There is no doubt that the staff of Paul's Termite and Pest Control is the best in our industry. All of our people are local, and local really does mean something. We are North Floridians. Our kids go to school here. We shop here. We build relationships here, and we honor our commitments. To all of our customers, thanks for trusting us to protect your family, pets, and home.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too, call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Surprising flavors, cultural authenticity, and unique adventures are some of the main ingredients that go into every single plate served at Café de Martín, Tallahassee's best Peruvian dining experience. Led by classically trained Chef Martín, passion for culture, passion for flavor, and a passion for people can be felt from the moment you step inside. Café de Martín also offers an unparalleled outdoor dining experience in the garden. Surrounded by vibrant flowers and plants and nestled between carefully curated decor, the shaded and breezy outdoor garden features elegant live music regularly, and the romantic evening lighting makes Café de Martín the best place to share conversation and connect with the ones you love. Every dish is made from scratch, and every drink is handmade by trained bartenders, offering the very best margaritas and old fashions in the city. Take a trip to a Peruvian paradise right here in the capital city. Visit Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open daily for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Find the full menu online at cafedemartin.com.
Not only does Swain Pools and Spas sell the best selection of hot tubs and spas in the city, but Swain also builds, services, renovates, restores in-ground pools. Is your pool ready for the summer season? Ask about our scheduled maintenance plans to ensure your pool is always clean, balanced, and ready for a swim. Does your pool have a leak, broken heater, or maybe needs some restoration? Is your pool showing its age and needs a facelift? Our renovation crew specializes in applying the latest modern techniques to transform your old pool into the oasis you always wanted. Swain Pools and Spas is Tallahassee's premier pool everything store. Call us today and we can answer all your questions. 850-386-7113. That's 386-7113. Or contact us online at swainpools.com.
And right next to Swain Pools and Spas is Tallahassee Car Care, the only repair shop where you can take a dip while we repair your whip.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
I think we've got it right, guys. I think we're all good to go now. There it is. Everybody's flipping around. We're doing our things. So it turns out, Corey, it wasn't my fault now, was it? Maybe we should make mention of that.
I'm just saying it's stuff that wasn't happening before. It's that's all. That's all. I'm allowed to be. I'm allowed to gripe.
I guess
his camera's always on. Old Iron Dog's always on.
That camera is where I used to sit.
Camera one.
And camera one is always going to be ready to roll.
This is camera 9.
Yeah, that camera, they're like, which slappy do we have in this week? Make sure you get that one on there too. Okay, we got it.
And I wore these fake glasses in that first segment for nothing.
Like, nobody could see me. Are we bringing the bear on this segment?
Did you get your real glasses fixed?
Not
Are
yet.
you good to go?
I mean, they're supposed to be in this week, but they haven't come in yet.
Oh man, Tish is owning up to it on the air here in the chat.
That's
a grown man
guy right there.
Yeah, he's like, hey, sorry about that, fellas. We're good to go. So number one was DJ Uyunglele, not surprisingly, on our top 40 list revealed.
Yeah.
And that top 5 was fun to look at just because there's a lot of good players there. Do you get a sense that there are low expectations for DJ amongst this fan base?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say low. Too. I wouldn't say low, but they're measured.
Yeah.
Nobody's expecting him.
They're hesitant to believe at all.
Right.
Right?
And you look at, because I wrote
again, back to the same thing with the, you know what? My homework for this week is going to be able to learn how to pronounce homogeneous or
okay. You're doing it again. You're using that word again.
Because I don't think it's one size fits. I don't think everybody feels that way. There are certain people who are excited about DJ, but I do think there are a lot of people who are not.
Yeah. And it was a generalization. Yeah. It's okay. I mean, yeah, obviously there are
Some people hate that shirt you're wearing.
Some people think he'll be the best player in college football.
Some people aren't happy your camera's on. Now.
But yeah, but no, I mean, I get that. But I think just generally speaking, the fan base has got a pretty low expectation for DJ.
And when you look at because I wrote this, you always forget. You have to remind yourself that he's been around. He's been in our lives for so long. He started that game at Notre Dame during COVID.
Yeah, and he went crazy.
He was incredible.
78 yards.
He started 40 college football games in his career. In the last 2 years, I think he's responsible for 54 touchdowns and 14 picks and 6,000 yards. All right, man. If he just stays that guy, you're going to probably be in Charlotte. If he just stays that guy, because that's a good quarterback. Not great, not Heisman worthy, but good quarterback. If you're averaging,
they don't need him to be Heisman.
Well, no, but I'm saying, what if he then, because he's getting coached by Tony Tokars, because he's in this offense, maybe he's got better weapons here in Tallahassee than he did in Corvallis.
Yeah.
Maybe he takes another step.
Sure.
Well, then, man, who knows what this team can be?
So much of it is based on his first year as a starter. He had, I think, either 10 touchdowns and 9 picks or 9 touchdowns and 10 picks.
He was horrible in 21.
Yeah, he was not good that year. And I felt like I didn't like what they did on offense. Like, I don't think they try to make him do what, Trevor Lawrence had done. Like, it just didn't fit. They were running. And then the next year, his numbers are good. Like, his numbers, he completed over 63% of his passes.
Remember,
if you look at the last 2 years, his touchdown to interceptions is like 43-14.
Yeah,
or something.
that's what. Yeah, it was more than that. Yeah, it's 43-14.
Years.
Yeah, and then you add in the 21 rushing touchdowns or whatever it is, 17 rushing touchdowns. But he had 2 back-to-back games where he beat Wake in double overtime, where we only got to see some of the game because my man Aaron Judge was chasing Roger Maris's AL home run record.
Right.
Are they going to do that again this year? But then, he threw 5 touchdowns and no picks in that game, and then his next game I think was in Tallahassee, and that was one of the best games he's ever played.
Yeah.
The problem is his last game that year, he was abysmal against South Carolina, and they lost 31-30, and he lost his job. He was like 8 of 29, but that was like the only horrible game he's played in the last 2 years.
Right.
That's he's a good college quarterback, man. And if they can he ran for 500 and something yards in 22 his last year at Clemson, man. If they can unleash some of that, now you're talking about the beauty is who knows what this offense can be, and there in turn, who knows what this team can be if he takes even another step. And it goes from pretty good or good to All-American or All-ACC caliber player.
Yeah, man. I think so much of that is, unless you're a quarterback that can do everything, so much of it in college football, especially, but even in the NFL, we see it now, is like who can build an offense around somebody's strengths. And I think Mike Norvell's proven, if you look at his track record, he's won with all different kinds of quarterbacks.
Right.
I think we've seen it. He's building an offense to suit DJ.
There's no reason to believe, in fact, it would be silly to believe that he won't improve.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like statistically. I'm just talking about his overall acumen, down-to-down performance ought to be better because he's got, in my mind, a great offensive mind in Mike Norvell. I think they're going to be able to run the ball in a way they couldn't a year ago. So if those two things are true, I mean, there's no reason he won't be better.
I like that he's coming off just 1 year in a system. Like there would be some question marks if he had that year last year at Clemson. And it's like, okay, he's learning a new system. How well will he adapt? How quickly will he do it? Well, he did it really quick in Corvallis.
And they were smart. That was a really smart way to utilize him. They ran the ball and they threw it deep.
Which is what you're going to see a lot of.
And that's what Florida State should do. And it looks like that's what they want to do with the personnel they brought in. So I see no reason he won't be better. It's interesting because I think it's the fantasy football, influence over people's minds and the way they view the game. They just look at numbers, and a lot of times a guy can be better and maybe not throw for as many yards, or he can be better and not throw for as many touchdowns or run for as many or whatever it might be. How efficient is he within what you're asking him to do? I see no reason that there won't be improvement there. Mike really sets his quarterbacks up to succeed because he is adaptable, and he also understands pretty early on, like, we can run this with him, but we can't really run this with him. We've seen him do that over the course of his career. He's going to have game-to-game situations where it's built for him to succeed and complete a much higher percentage of passes than the back of his football card would suggest.
But it's also it's not even looking at the numbers to some degree, because again the numbers last 2 years are really good.
Yeah,
he's got good numbers. It's so much of it is he's the number one quarterback coming out of high school 5 years ago. has those first couple of games, the Notre Dame game and the BC games, where he throws for like 1 billion yards. It looks incredible.
Yeah, the Notre Dame game was crazy.
Yeah, and then that's on the heels of Trevor Lawrence and the success they've had at quarterback. So people were expecting to be something. He clearly wasn't. And then their coaching staff, with their changes and their lack of personnel, like it seemed like they lost faith in him. Like they never asked him to throw in obvious throwing situations, which I think put him in some bad situations. And so, but even with that, those last 2 years, his last year there and his year at Oregon State were good numbers. They're good numbers. To Corey's point, Corey wrote this in the piece about him being number 1 on our top 40. If he's just what he was the last couple of years, they'll be in great shape. If he is better than that, man, look out.
I think he will be better. How much better? That's the question. And I think he will be good, just like you're pointing to. He has been the last 2 years. I also think the defense is really good. So he does not have to go out and put up 40 points a game. This is a team that can play to their defense much the way they did last year. I mean, once they recognized they had a dominant front, that they could get to the passer, that they could stop the run and be proficient defensively. Look, I think this secondary has a chance to be better than it was a year ago. I think the defensive line will have to prove itself, but boy, there are some pieces. Old Batted Balls is an elite player. We think Marvin Jones Jr. is going to be really good, and I like the 2 monsters inside. So that first unit is really good. Rotational pieces will have to play well, but I think they will also. There's question marks at linebacker. Let's see what happens. But I think around all of those guys is a very, very experienced and talented defense. I think they'll play to that. These games may be a little bit hairy for a couple of quarters because of the way Florida State wants to play offensively, running the ball, wearing you down. They've got an All-American punter potentially in flipping field position, so they can do that and say, hey.
They want to get him some work early.
I'm just saying it allows you to be patient.
Yeah.
I thought Roddy Jones, who former Georgia Tech player with the ACC Network and ESPN, I did a story last week where I interviewed him and Eric McLean, just their thoughts on the conference. I thought he made a really good point. Roddy Jones is really bright, and I thought he made a really good point about the transfer stuff. His one concern is last year, a lot of those transfers, the vast majority of those transfers had been in the system at least 2 years. So the Jared Versus, Trey Benson, Johnny Wilson's, Jarian Jones's, all those baby love it. It wasn't like they were 1 year transfers. So you could say at the draft, all those guys were transfers, but they've been in the system at least a couple of years. There were only Fisk, Keon Coleman, and Jaheim Bell were the only 1 year plug-in guys, I guess, offensive side, Jeremiah Byers. But for the most part, those were guys that played in the system. His point was when the bullets start flying, when the scoreboard is on and you get into games early this season, it's going to be a little bit of a new experience because you're going to have guys that have never played for your team before, haven't played with the guy next to them.
Yeah,
they don't know if they can trust them.
Yeah,
and all that stuff. So that's a difference. I think the talent, man, I can make an argument that there's more elite talent on this team than there was last year. I really believe that.
Well, the draft may bear that out as well.
Right.
I mean, I think they're going to have double-digit drafts again.
Well, whether it's as elite, like are you going to have 2 of the first 30 players picked? I don't remember, or 3 of the first 38, like they did with Fisk and Coleman and Verse. Probably not. But I just think 1 through 40, certainly 1 through 30, I think is stronger, man.
But if you're talking about from a pure size, measurables, strength, speed factor, I think that front you just talked about,
Darryl Farmer and Jackson should be studs.
Darryl Jackson, Josh Farmer, those are going to be high NFL draft. I believe they're going to be high NFL draft picks. Marvin Jones Jr. may be the highest of. He in terms of measurables, he's going to be off the charts. Patrick Payton is coming off another. So
and Azaria might be
Azaria
Thomas,
as high
as any of them.
Yeah, and of all those DBs that went in the first few rounds, Azaria's got more upside than any of them. So that's my point.
Somebody brought up we talked about on Wake Up Warchant, one of the questions was, all right, it was a board post that Aslan brought up about how the guy looking at the top 10 was like, am I wrong to be a little less than impressed with the top 10 when you look at it as a whole, our Warchant top 10 compared to last year? And the point was, well, yeah, I guess if you look at last year's, because you knew what Johnny Wilson was, you knew what Jared Verse was, and you had Jordan Travis and Trey Benson.
If you look at it in terms of returning production.
Yes, but that doesn't mean, and my point was, compare it to what we saw in 22, which was Micah Pittman was number 3 on our Warchant top 40.
Boy, that'll hurt your feelings.
There was 2 linemen in the top 10.
That was number 3?
Yeah, Fabian Lovett and Robert Cooper were in the top 10.
In that spring, we thought they were going to be their top receiver.
But the point being,
incorrect.
Well, but even if he had been, that's still.
But when you look back at that 2022 top 10, you're like, it wasn't great. And they were one horrible decision / pass in Raleigh from being 11-2.
Yeah.
So this team we think is, I don't know if it's going to be as good or as talented as 23's team. We'll see. I think it's deeper, but I definitely think it's better than 22. And the 22 team won 10 games.
Well, and again,
if it stays healthy,
it's not an argument. It's just different percent. I actually think this team is more talented when you look at height, strength, speed. I mean, they've said this team is the fastest and the strongest, measurably. Fastest and strongest.
They continue to raise the floor.
Is there a special? What we don't know yet is special. At the end of the year, Fisk and Burst were just special football players. Jordan Travis was special when he was healthy. Johnny Wilson, Keon Coleman made special plays. Sometimes you just need guys to Keon Coleman out in Clemson.
Yeah, or Jermaine Johnson in a couple of those situations, like the Miami game. Or
we don't know if these guys are there yet.
Does Marvin have that extra gear in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
Does
to
Earl
take
Little
over? Yeah.
Earl
Little, you forget about flipping Earl Little.
Well, that's why I was talking about the secondary, because I think he's going to have a great season, and all I can do is project that. Right. He hasn't done it for Florida State yet, and really hasn't done it in his college career because he was hurt. But, I mean, I think that guy has got a lot of skills and a unique skill set, let's put it that way. So if he is, we love the two corners.
Yeah.
Shaheem should have a huge year. Yeah. Look, I mean, there's no way – I don't think he would shy away from it. I don't think it's unreasonable of me to say that Shaheem ought to be one of these guys in the conversation for All-American. He's physical, he's long, he's tough, he's durable,
confident.
He's been here forever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's time. He should be an awesome difference maker this year. And if Earl Little Jr. is going to be what I think he's going to be, the only question mark on your entire defense at this point would be who emerges as a plus player at linebacker. You've got two suitable linebackers, maybe three, and if one of those turns out to be better than suitable, and let's say is a plus player, then all right. And I know the position's been lessened, but you'd still see on national championship caliber teams, they've got really good linebackers.
I'd like a little more, not depth on the defensive line, because I think they do have depth. Who's going to step up and be a guy that we're not talking about that's going to be a real player on this defensive line? You're not going to just play four. You can't do it.
Right, obviously. And then you bring in the kid from Colorado State, and then you have Daniel Lyons, who I like, but, is he
the kid from Oregon State, I think, is
absolutely.
Should be a real player for them.
They've got – that's the other part. You forget about some of the transfers that they did bring in that I think can be plus players. So that rotation is not just those two, and then what do we have? No, you got a couple of guys that are dudes. There's a chance.
They're grown men.
Yeah, that's right. I think they're going to stop the run and make people one-dimensional, and that's why I'm so excited to see what they do in the secondary, because I think they have playmakers. And Fintrell Cypress looked more comfortable in spring than he did at any point last year during the season for them. And there's a lot of reasons probably for that. But he was flying around this spring and looked quicker. It was playing faster.
He was making plays. He wasn't just keeping things in front.
Right. He was making plays.
My only concern about the defensive line, and this is having just said 5 minutes ago, I think they may have a bunch of first and second round picks on the defensive line. My only concern is really from that group is I thought last year's greatest strength from that defensive front was, man, they just didn't have busts. Like you didn't see a gaping hole and some dude out the gate. Like you just didn't see that very often. This is, is Darrell Jackson going to be content to do his assignment? Is Josh Farmer always going to just do his assignment? Or the linebacker is going to fill the right gap, not guess? Like those are things, because we haven't seen it, that it's like in the back of your head.
God, if they do, though,
they have the talent. There's
because
no
at
doubt.
335, 6'5", and plays low and bends with good feet and has that strength, you're not moving him if he's going to be that guy, right? That Darrell, go get paid, man. Go get paid. Like, this is it.
Just be disciplined, do your job.
You'll make a ton of money because most people aren't built like you. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
2 pedestrians from Tallahassee were hit and killed in Franklin County. A car was traveling southwest on U.S. Highway 98 near Arizona Street Saturday night, striking 2 pedestrians, a 43-year-old Tallahassee man and a 40-year-old Tallahassee woman. They were crossing Highway 98 near Lanark Village in the Carabel area of the county just after 10 p.m. A 25-year-old woman driving a pickup truck hit the pair head-on, and they were thrown to the shoulder. The driver suffered minor injuries. The man was pronounced dead at the scene, and the woman died on the way to the hospital. The investigation is ongoing. Starting at 7 a.m. this morning, the main entrance to Tallahassee International Airport will be closed. That will last through the following Monday, July 15th. That means all traffic, including short-term and long-term parking and passenger drop-off pickup, will enter the airport through Airport Access Road entrance across from Lake Bradford Road. All airport construction will be weather-dependent and could be delayed in the event of severe weather. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by McLemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McLemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Storms likely this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies. Daytime highs approaching 92. Southwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Slight chance of thunderstorms tonight. Lows dip down to about 77. Partly cloudy. Storms likely tomorrow. High of 90. Partly cloudy. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 83 degrees.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. It's MillerSeptic.com. Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachia Parkway.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
The experience of attending that event in 2021 and 2022 is among the highlights of my time in college. I appreciate being viewed as one of the conference's top players heading into this season. That's from DJ, who will not be at the ACC kickoff, which we found out earlier today. Quote, however, I feel strongly that Florida State should be represented by players who were a part of last year's ACC championship team. The players who helped put this program back on top of the ACC should have the opportunity to be recognized for their contributions. We'll find out who is going later this week. Real quick, I will say that's nice of DJ. I take issue with one thing. I don't believe him when he says that this is one of the highlights of his time in college football, having attended the ACC.
Yeah, I don't
kickoff. I don't think that's accurate.
That's a ring true.
I appreciate you saying that, DJ, and it's polite, and it's maybe it's even the right thing to say. I'm not buying it.
I think it's those guys seem like they're having a good time for the most part. Going early on in the process,
Yeah.
like when they
About
get
an
there,
hour in, they're like,
when they hang out with the other players.
Think about being a starting college quarterback at a place like Clemson, and then Oregon State even, and now Florida State for, what are we talking about, 50 months? And one of the highlights is going and hanging out with people like us.
All right, so maybe not.
Yeah, I'm not buying it, but it's all right. Doesn't
but
matter.
it's not just us. He gets to go in the back with the ESPN people, and there's some probably it doesn't suck. I don't think it sucks.
I'm not painting that picture either.
But yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's probably not one of
the highlights.
Great highlights. But yeah, so DJ announced today that he is not going to go to ACC kickoff. FSU's going to have 3 people there, just like all the schools. But I think it's a mature choice. I think it makes sense. We've talked about before, we were wondering what kind of circus was going to be there with the Clemson media, because the way they acted with him 4 or 5 years ago, and then like they built him up so high, then they tore him down, and now they're seeing him at Florida State. It would have been some interesting questions and all that, but I really don't. I'm talking to people at FSU, like that wasn't the main factor. The main thing was he felt uneasy with the idea of, I'm joining a team that just won the ACC, just won 13
questions
games.
about the ACC championship that was just won.
Yeah, and this talking about the big picture of this program, and some of those guys are sitting in Tallahassee while he's there speaking about it.
I think that's a large point of it. I do. Yeah. I don't think that's just like, I don't want to answer questions about Clemson. He knows that game's on the schedule.
Yeah.
And he knows all that stuff's coming, but I do think that's the majority of it, which is cool, man. It says a lot about him. It says, again, I think it says more about him than the culture in this instance.
No, I agree.
But I do think it speaks a little bit about that culture they have over there, that he doesn't want to go take the shine from guys that actually deserved it. So I don't know who they're going to – Darius Washington, I guess, or
that's not
Maurice
a bad
Smith.
choice.
He'd be a pretty good choice, yeah.
And then 2 guys on defense, or maybe one of your kickers. But yeah, it makes sense. Like he didn't do anything last year for them.
But
he was out there in Corvallis toiling in obscurity.
It probably rules out any of these transfers then, though. Like Malik might have been a guy I thought might be picked,
probably not.
but probably not.
Yeah, well, especially now, how would Malik look? He's like, I'm going.
Yeah.
Thanks, DJ, for nothing.
Hey, LT, you stay back in town. Can you watch my dog for me? I'm going to be up in Charlotte hanging out with Jeff Cameron.
I do think Darius Washington's a great pick. I would pick him. I mean, the guy is selfless. He's done it all. He's built up to a place where they have these huge expectations for him at left tackle this year.
He was number 5 on the Warchant top 40.
He's a good player. He can play anywhere on the offensive line, anywhere.
Last year he was super smart.
Yes, he is. Well, and he's been here for 6 years.
Yeah, so he's smart, been here, part of the culture. He's watched it all transform. He can answer these questions better than anybody else in the program. Anybody.
Send Darius, Mike.
Yeah. He started 3 games in 19. He started for Willie
3 or 4.
Taggart, I think, or maybe Odell.
No,
he definitely started for Odell.
It was for Willie. It was early in the year, and then he got hurt.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's
should
that's
pepper
crazy.
him with questions about that era.
Well, that's why his
early night, the Boise State game.
Yeah.
And you wrote it about it. He's been all over the place during his 5-6 years in Tallahassee. He's been high on the top 40. He's been low on the top 40. But part of it was because in going into 20, we had him really high because he started early in the year. He started early his freshman year as a true freshman on an awful offensive line. But then he got hurt, had surgery, missed the rest of the year.
As true freshman 10-2
so
when they're asked to play
on the offensive line.
Yeah.
So our thought was, okay, in 2020 he's going to be a stud, but he was still coming back from that. I don't think he had worked on his shoulder. He had worked out. So we rated him too high that next year. Then the next year we bumped him down, but then he was good. So it's just been
last year he was number 35
because he wasn't going to start.
Yeah, I know, I get it. And then he ended up now he's number 5.
So could you go Darius Washington, Lawrence Toafili, and then Farmer?
I would say Shaheem.
Shaheem, yeah, I like Shaheem.
Patrick Payton might need to be
Azaria too.
Azaria, yeah.
I would say Azaria, Patrick Payton, and one of the
Darius
Washington. That'd be my 3.
You'd leave Toafili out of that list?
Yeah. Well,
didn't he get MVP of the
he got
MVP
of the
when
ACC
Fisk probably should have got that.
He got that. He still got that in his
we love you, LT.
somewhere.
Yeah, but
Fisk had like 6 tackles for loss.
I mean, Braden
he
was
won
like,
that guy.
he kind of was unblockable from the very first snap on, which was a wonderful indicator. That's got to be the worst feeling in the world when you're a mano-a-mano. Not every position in football is that way. So you don't always.
Yeah, he's speaking a different language, so I got that part.
You don't get exposed necessarily like from the first snap of the game if you play, say, linebacker, safety, corner, whatever. First play of the game when the guy across from you whoops your ass is 4 yards in the backfield making a stop on a play that's being run away from him. Coach has got to be like, this is going to be a tough day.
Well, the players got to be like, what was that?
We got a bit of a problem over there on the right side, boys.
Not sure the scheme is going to work.
Yeah, we may have to.
It looked pretty good on that grease board.
Can we chip away starting on play 2? Because this is an
like
issue.
When Jimbo used to talk about his plays that didn't work, and Corey would be like, do you take into consideration whether or not that guy can block the guy on their team?
Well, he said we didn't execute. And I'm like, when you say y'all don't execute, does that mean they didn't run the play correctly, or you just didn't block the guy you were supposed to block because he didn't
Everybody gets blocked on the grease board.
He always had the out because I would ask him if they ran a particular play repeatedly that failed repeatedly.
Yeah.
And as soon as I would, like, after the 4th time he mentioned it on his own, I'd be like, well, this is my opportunity. You've brought it up 4 times in the course of this interview that this play wasn't executed, and I know the play.
Was it the wide receiver screen?
Well,
the slip screen?
I did ask about the slip screen, but no. I would say to him, Coach, when plays like that aren't executed, obviously they were a big part of your game plan. You just referenced it 3 or 4 times. How frustrating is that? Which he set himself up, right? How frustrating is that, and why weren't they executed? Because I know fans want to know that, and then he's like, well, the other guy's on scholarship too.
Yep.
Oh, well, then why do we keep doing that? Why do we keep saying that? Just didn't execute it.
And Noel Dad 77 called me out. He's right. You're right. Noel Dad 77. I realized after I said it, mano a mano is actually hand to hand.
Yeah.
Not man.
Oh, is it really?
Man. But I kind of like man to man better.
I do too. That's dumb. Why would it be a hando then if it's
let's do this because I want to congratulate somebody here. Robert in the chat wrote, "Good afternoon, gentlemen. I was informed this morning that I have been accepted into Florida State for the fall."
Let's go.
Oh, nice.
I'm
all
excited and nervous because I've lived in Jacksonville my whole life. Any advice? Thank you, guys. Well, if you've lived in Jacksonville, you know it's hot there too.
Yeah.
So
And
you're
there's-
not coming into a wildly different
It's a
climate.
lot like
And
the
there's-
landing. Tallahassee is a lot like the landing.
There's nowhere to go but up. I
Yeah,
mean,
you're gonna be all right. It's not as sprawling as Jacksonville,
no,
which you'll be
what
happy
is?
about. Like you could have a friend in Jacksonville who lives 2.5 hours away from you
Yeah,
and still be in
still be- yeah.
Jacksonville. That's not the case in Tallahassee. And just look around, man.
The
Walk
scenery-
that campus.
is
The
a nice-
scenery
cool.
is
Must be a Mr. Smarty Pants too to get accepted to Florida State.
tough to do
It's
these days.
Really
tough
hard.
to do these days. So congratulations, Robert. And I would just take it easy, man. Go ease on into your time here instead of running around crazy like I did. Just go. Hey, all right. I got a lot of time
Yeah.
here. I got
To
a lot
maintain.
of
You
time.
gotta-
Let's
Cat 5 maintain.
Yes, you
And
do.
I
You
would
gotta
try- I would
maintain.
take
because it's
it-
easy to let it get away from you.
Yeah, it is.
You definitely get away
But
from
also,
me.
if you have a car on campus around
No.
Pensacola,
Yeah.
up in near the Capitol,
Mm.
drive at a not busy time, maybe 1 a.m. sober. Learn the rules, learn the roads, learn what's one way and what's not one way. Because
Oh,
in
yeah,
at least
downtown, that could be a toughie.
downtown, you every fall.
That first year, man, I mean, I can't imagine not being with a
Everybody
car, so I
turns
don't
in.
tell anybody not to have a car. But, man, I don't know that it's going to do you much good. First of all, if you're going to be mostly around campus, there's just nowhere to park, dude. You're just going to be getting ticket after ticket after ticket after ticket. It gets overwhelming. And then if you got a buddy that'll be driving you around, that's what you do.
But Corey's right though. When we were at the Osceola back in the day, Pensacola there going towards the stadium is
Mhm.
one way.
One way. It was
And
awesome.
man,
though.
we would and from my office, I could see Pensacola Street, and I would see, especially in August and September, 2 cars a day go the wrong way.
Yeah. And I've been told this is a good way to a conversation start, especially with the opposite sex. He's 18, I'm guessing 18 or 19.
Mhm.
If you're at a coffee shop and you see a woman studying with the AirPods in her ears, obviously, you just tap her on the shoulder because this works and say, "Oh, you listen to the boys from Headlines? You a Headline fan too?
You a headliner?
I couldn't help but notice it is Tuesday.
Yeah, you listen to Headlines
Yeah,
too?
yeah.
Man, because
Yeah.
trust me,
It's
that works
gold.
all the
It's
time
gold.
because they all are.
Yeah.
If you see a woman on campus Tuesday around 1:30, know that they're probably listening to Headlines.
Just as an aside, the chat is eclectic as always. Some people say go to the observatory on top of the Capitol, which I've done, which is beautiful,
Yeah,
and you get
yeah.
to get a view of the whole city. Other people's advice is wrap it up. So you see you've got a wide array of pieces of advice.
Imagine
imagine that. Yeah,
you
So
could do both.
You could go atop the Capitol and see your fair
Be wrapped
city
up
and
while you're
kinda-
up there.
And then there's that. There's all of that.
Have you ever
Good
done
luck,
the
Robert.
top of the Capitol?
I think we're going to ask me.
If you ever wrapped it up, clearly
I'm
not. You got them all
Yeah,
over
man,
the place.
it's awesome up there.
Yeah, it is neat.
Yeah.
It is neat.
It
That's
is
a
neat.
weird thing to tell a college kid to do, though. Like, hey,
get
I'm
away
trying
of
to
the
get
land, man.
adjusted
Get
to
away
Tallahassee.
of the. You do get away of the land.
Well, that's true.
You go to each
Get
corner.
away of
You
the
can
county.
see Gaines. You come back over here. You got the Parkway. You come back over here. You got Mahan.
Can he get in a corner pocket? He
Oh,
can go
of
in there
course he
during the
can.
day,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, 9 o'clock he has to get out.
All right. Sorry,
Yeah.
Robert.
Oh, 9 o'clock is the.
Yeah, it's cut off.
Get you up out of there.
Jeff sells fake IDs though, so if you want to reach out, to
I
him,
knew
feel
somebody
free.
who did back in the day. Now
We
fake
all
IDs,
did.
I don't believe are a thing.
They're too hard now.
It's impossible to do
Back
now,
in the
right?
day, man, it was
It's a
just like,
hologram.
it
It's
was
like
like-
Star Wars. There's people floating around
Yeah.
in them now. You can't even do it.
back in the day, like there would be kids in their dorm rooms where they'd have the
Oh, yeah,
board
just
set
pick which
up.
one you wanted.
Yeah.
I borrowed a guy's, and I didn't even drink that much. I was at Georgia and I was 20, and all my friends were 21. I borrowed one of my friends' real IDs. He was 6'3",
Yeah, man, I've done that too.
and I would
Oh,
just
yeah.
show, and he had
But
brown
back
hair,
when
and I
you
had
were in
hair
co-
back then.
When you were in college, when he was in college, when I was in college, those doormen didn't
Man, they were like,
care.
all right,
They're
man,
like,
good
whatever,
luck.
buddy,
Yeah.
get on in here.
I had my
As long as you don't look 14.
And as long as you didn't act scared.
Yeah.
You couldn't
No, I
be
made
that
eye
guy,
contact.
that one buddy of ours who's like looking around and all that. Like, no, don't do
That-
that.
and-
Boldly walk into this
Yeah.
bitch.
and that's that was my approach.
Yes.
So one time in Tampa,
Like, I
though,
can't
we
be
went,
bothered. Hurry up. Give me
we-
my ID back.
we
Finally,
went-
we're giving some advice you can
Yeah.
use.
we were down in Tampa and went to a bar, and I was with a guy, and I had the same deal. I had it wasn't a fake ID; it was some of my buddy's ID that was expired. That's why he gave me his ID because it was expired.
There you go.
And I'm like, all right, good. He did not look me like he was.
Oh,
he
no,
was
no, no,
also
yeah,
a
yeah.
Caucasian male,
Mm.
but that was about the extent of it. And so I was like, well, I'm walking straight up to the thing. So I'm like walking in front of our group. We get out of the
Get
car.
your
I'm
son, buddy.
walking straight up to the door,
Yeah.
and there's a cop next to the bouncer. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? I can't.
Now you
turn
got to
around.
keep going.
I'm
You got to
committed. I'm all in.
You're all in.
So I walk right up. I give it to him. The guy looks at it and literally starts giggling, and then hands it to me and lets me go in.
Also,
He was just like, "This is."
can you get
He's like, this
arrested?
is absurd. This is absurd, sir.
You deserve it just on
I
just
really like
the
the cut
audacity.
of your. I like the cut of your jib, sir.
the
You-
audacity to try to get in here. Go for it. But can you get arrested? That's not a fake
You can
ID.
get arrested if you alter it. I know because my buddy Jeff did.
But that's not a fake ID.
Your buddy
so
Jeff.
what would the charge be if the cop?
I think I probably just would have got.
Your buddy Jeff got busted for altering the
an
ID.
for sure. Now, his point was, what would the cop have done in this situation?
Because it's not a fake ID.
They just would have kept it, turned me away.
Yeah, they would have turned you away. I don't know if it's more severe these days, but
you just don't alter an ID, Robert.
I like that I still get carded. It's so ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah, man. At certain places, they just have to.
Man,
like when I bought CVS.
I tell the girl if she IDs me, like, God bless you.
But CVS, I bought.
I don't get ID.
You buy razors or cold medicine.
But you're wearing like a 20-year-old sneakers.
But they're like, can I see
your
ID?
quiet. Hour number 2 is forthcoming with headliner
sorry.
questions. With that note, we'll step aside momentarily.
AC and electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722. Parker Services. Comfort just a call away.
Invest in a Peak Performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. And now offering electrical services too.
Parker Services. Comfort just a call away.
License CMC 050324 and EC 130-12140.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Investors, are you looking for a creative way to purchase your next rental property? Are you looking to get into the Airbnb space? If so, you need to know about DSCR loans. It stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. These are loans that do not require traditional income verification. As long as the proposed rent covers the mortgage payment on the subject property, that's the only income you need. If you're looking at investing and don't know if you can qualify, let's set up a plan to get your next income producing property and start putting you on a path to passive income. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. And don't forget, every fellow Nole that we close a loan for, I will personally make a donation of $250 to the Battle's End. It's Shannon Young at 954-369-6171.
Equal housing lender, NMLS number 373031.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show, live and local on Real Talk 93.3, WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
The New York Yankees visit Tropicana Field today to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. Carlos Rodon for the Yankees, 9-6, a 4.45 ERA. Rodon, the left-hander, is another 25 favorite. Ryan Pepe over the Rays, plus 105, 8 over the total at Tropicana Field. An extra day of rest for All-Star Chris Sale. He's on the mound today for the Braves, another 25 favorite. Against Zach Gallen of the Diamondbacks, plus 105, 7.5 over the total at Chase Field in Phoenix. Rory McIlroy, plus 750 from the Genesis Scottish Open, North Berwick, Scotland. Xander Schauffele, plus 850. Colin Morikawa is 14-1. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. Progressive.com. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
I always do my best to prep for summer, but sometimes things just come up. And when they do, Kohl's and their great prices are always there for me. I just shopped their summer cyber sale and saved big on everything I was missing, like summer must-haves under $15, floor care essentials for 50% off, and kitchen appliances for 30% off. Plus, I earned Kohl's cash. So no matter what happens the rest of the summer, I'll be ready. Thanks to Kohl's. Select styles. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up for our 5th grade class recital, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-stress performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence 9 tests under high-load conditions versus API-SP test limits.
I'm Craig Richards with Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we believe you. Now, what does that mean? Over and over, we hear from people we represent that they shared their stories of how they were injured, either with law enforcement, insurance companies, or business owners, and they didn't believe their. That's why you need an attorney who has your back, no matter what. An attorney who starts by believing you're telling the truth. We at Basic Brooks, we believe you. Let's talk. 850-777-7777.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
What will the Noles do to follow up an unconquered 2023? Warchant.com, the market leader in FSU football and sports coverage, is the place to find out. Join the largest FSU fan community and talk Seminole sports in Warchant's Travel Council and premium recruiting message board forum. Enjoy special access to multimedia elements like Wake Up Warchant, The Jeff Cameron Show, and Seminole Headlines, plus exclusive forums with FSU student athletes and a members-only discount to Garnet and Gold. Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source. Head to Warchant.com and sign up today.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, headliner questions coming your way momentarily as we pause to say thank you to Dr. Birch Orthodontics. I think it's tomorrow at 9 a.m. that I'm going to see her. I think it's tomorrow. Yeah. It's
nice.
Well, with 2 kids, it happens frequently. Just one final check on Bryce. He's been locked solid, but we're going to make sure that the retainer is where it needs to be. And then Clark has got the rest of the summer to go there. So I'll be there frequently, but that's tomorrow morning.
Before we get to talking about Dr. Birch, which is going to come in a second, just relax. It's coming.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Sean, the original elite headliner, pointed out he thinks Corey promised an hour number 2 if they went to Omaha, and it's got lost because we didn't do a show.
Did you promise it? And he can't be trusted to answer.
I literally don't remember. That seems a little too.
No, that was a high bar. No, that's a kind of a high bar for a team that won 23 games.
Yeah, but I think I would have made that. We wouldn't even talked about it till like May, and by May they were clearly an Omaha caliber team.
I actually bet him to make it to Omaha.
I feel like a championship series
before the year.
I feel like a championship series berth. I would have said hour number 2.
Well, I feel like you're lying right now, but here's what I would also.
I'm not lying about not remembering. I'm not lying about that.
This other nonsense you're making up now to deflect. What I'm saying though is that it is too late. You don't have to do it.
I blew it.
What?
What
didn't
if
have
they
to do
beat
it.
Georgia
There's
Tech?
just a statute of limitations on an hour number 2?
We don't know if he did or didn't. I can't confirm it. I don't remember. Do you remember? If you remember, then call him on it and let's do it. Let's go.
I mean, I can say with as much confidence they did it as he could say he didn't do it.
No, I can't say I didn't do it. I don't remember.
Well, then you should do it.
No. Hey, that's how
Sean
hour
says
number
you
2s
did it.
work.
Yeah.
Jeff, you're running the show.
Well,
here.
you know what?
Agree.
You know what we need? You know what we need?
We need
a grease board or something to like
put these things up, like the big board we had here for a long time. We called it the big board. Yeah, I don't know where the hell the big board went, but yeah, maybe we should.
Yeah, back when you had a staff.
Alicia
was keeping stuff up there. Tom was keeping stuff up there.
I had running
Matt.
bets up there for a long time. And
now it's just you.
Yeah, it's just me. Just running things here.
Like a hamster
doing
on a
what
wheel.
I can, man.
But you know who doesn't have to do everything by themselves? Dr. Birch, who's got an incredible staff. Guys, listen, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I feel like sometimes we got to plead with you to go. Just go.
Yeah,
just go check it out.
No pleading. It's the best of the best.
Go check it out. Get the free consultation. Find out what your children need, what kind of orthodontic help they need.
Yeah,
they've got all the latest techniques, and it'll be great. It's a great experience. Dr. Birch and her staff are top notch. They do great work, great customer service.
That's true.
Conveniently located, payment plans. There's nothing else. Listen, it sells itself.
Yeah.
Just go see Dr. Birch.
I got a question about conveniently located in general as a descriptor.
Conveniently located.
I was going to say, this is for you. It's right next to you.
Yeah.
I was like, if I live in certain other parts of the city, it's just not conveniently located. It's worth my time, but it's not conveniently located.
Also close to Capitol Circle. You got Capitol Circle, Thomasville Road, and I-10.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
There's nothing more conveniently located. Plus, it's about 3 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
That's very convenient.
He always stresses conveniently located, I've noticed, and I'm like,
if you start from my house.
Yeah, if you're at Ira's house and you're going to Birch, you've never been more convenient. It's unbelievable.
Your neighbor is conveniently located to you.
It's an awesome place, even if you have to drive a bit. That's another way of saying
it. If it's inconvenient for you,
it would be worth the trip.
Yeah, it's absolutely
but come see me first, and it'll be
swing by, see Ira, pet the dog, say hey to Nico, and then take it on up there, man. Yeah, it's good. All right, Brian says this, or asks this. What's up, fellas? As I type this out, I happen to be chowing down on the Dinner of Champions, a delicious jalapeno cheddar Register's meat sausage.
Beautiful.
My question is, are you guys concerned about how long this season is going to be on this team and how this may affect them by the time the playoffs roll around in middle of December? With the way we begin practice early in July, this team could be playing all the way into late December. I guess this is where your depth comes in, the wear and tear of a long season.
Yeah.
But I have my concerns with guys maybe feeling drained by the time we get to late November, games into December for the playoffs. Your thoughts? Well, they got 3 buys.
You do have 3 buys.
You got 3 buys. If you can't struggle on through this schedule with 3 buys, you're never going to.
Well, in the NFL, obviously those are grown men that work year-round on their bodies. They're enormous people, and they're very strong. But they have, 53 people on those rosters?
Yeah.
You've got 85. And you're playing, if you get to the championship game, which is crazy to say, you'll have played 17 games, maybe, at least 16. And if you play in the first round of the playoffs, you play 17 games. That is a lot for a 20-year-old.
That's a lot for anybody, but yes.
It's 3 buys during the season, and then you also get, I guess, a couple of weeks before the playoffs start.
Yeah, if you're a conference champion, which is the only way I think Florida State would have a legit way to win a championship, meaning a national championship, would be to win the ACC, get the bye, and then go.
But the
from
playoffs
there.
Don't start the next week, right?
Right,
They start 2 weeks later, so everybody gets a bye after.
You're gonna have a respite between some of the biggest moments.
Yeah, I will say this. I wouldn't dismiss the concern because it is a long season.
Yeah.
But one thing I would say is one thing that the beauty of modern technology is they do have that GPS software and they track the catapult. They track how much it's load management is a legitimate thing. They track how much these guys. So if a player, say a player normally runs 19.8 miles per hour in a certain play, a kickoff return or 20 miles an hour, and they notice that guy's speeds are dropping off a little bit, they know they can see, okay, we need to back off a little bit, and they can manage it. So you may still have injuries because of course of a long season, but I think they do a good job of like maintaining the peak performance and not overusing guys, because back in the day it was just all the eye test.
And I also think this is kind of fun. This is part of what you pay a coach a lot of money to do, because now you're going to have to understand there are games where you're heavily favored to beat the bejesus out of somebody. There's somebody that you should trounce by 3 touchdowns. Might this be a day that my starting defensive tackle takes 10 snaps early in the game. We get up by 10. You're coming out, man. I got to trust that somebody else can, bear the brunt of the load for this particular game that we're favored by 3 touchdowns in. I mean, there may even be games where you just straight sit a dude for an entire game.
I mean, I think we saw that last year with Fabian Lovett.
Like they kept. But he was coming off of all the
but they kept him. They could have played him more snaps and might not have had him available late in the year.
Well, and look, if you're 8-3 going into the Florida game and you've got no chance of making the playoff
unless you win the ACC,
Charlotte,
you're going to sit people.
You're going to sit people against Florida.
You're going to sit people. That's going to happen a lot of times. This is what we're talking about, though. The management of this should be interesting, and this is where a coach, it's added to the ledger of things that they have to be able to do well or be criticized. Now, they're paid handsomely to do that, and they have people around them that can help them. And, what we've seen with the advancements in exercise physiology is amazing in my lifetime. Just thinking about it blows me away compared to the way that it was in the olden times, as I would say. But it's true. I mean, they do track everything from what you eat, how much you sleep, how fast you're running, how much you lifted, 2 weeks ago compared
to now. How many packs of cigs you're smoking a day?
All of it. It's all there. Also, I would have hated this because the beauty of being a savvy player over time is learning when you can take a play off, when you can take several playoffs. They got everything. You get after practice like Cameron. So, 25 straight snaps you took off there today. You can't get away with anything anymore.
Like in a high school practice, you can tell when the coach is watching.
Oh, yeah. You could do it in college, too. But you can't anymore if you're wearing a catapult system. I mean, just because you're in college, not everybody's an eagle-eyed dick out there looking at everything.
Plus,
like you got time.
They video everything, too. So, like, say you're a tight end, and then you just dance with the defensive end.
Yeah.
And then Chris Thompson's like, Jeff, can you tell me what you're doing right here? Like, what is this? What are y'all talking about?
Yeah, well, we were asking if you were hungry or not. Where do you want to go after practice?
Is this the effort we're looking for?
The wink, wink, nod, nod between players who had to block one another, tackle one another.
Be off.
It was always understood.
But you can't do it anymore.
Can't do it. It was always understood. And every player out there listening to this knows what I'm talking about. There have been times where it's 98 degrees and 100% humidity, and you're late in practice. Last third of practice, you look at each other like, it's come on, man. Don't make me have to, and both of you would just engage. You could make it look good, like you're on the set of Hollywood, and then,
just have a conversation.
Boy, what an equal rep that was! But nobody did a damn thing. They were just hanging out. I'm not. Hey, listen, everybody's got to deal with it, Brian. To answer your question, everybody, if you're any good, if you're a championship caliber team, they're all dealing with this very thing. Butch writes, "Hello, boys. I'm curious to understand why amateur football players under NIL are getting paid. But amateur golfers like Luke Clanton cannot earn winnings from his past 2 tournaments. The disparity between amateur status for football players and other collegiate/amateur athletes is massive. Your thoughts. Take care." I think the PGA Tour will change this. They've already gone a long way in changing this. The live threat forced them to do that because what was happening is that elite collegiate players were taking live money and coming out their rookie season, if you will, and just getting rich and never having to worry about earning that for the rest of their lives. They weren't incentivized to go to the PGA Tour. Now they have collegiate tour rankings. Okay, so ESPN, what is it, Collegiate U, whatever it's called. If you're in the top 10 of that, you have temporary status. If you're top 2 of that, you get your card right out the gates. And also, I think they've talked a lot about if you finish second, as Clanton did last week, as an amateur moving forward, they can put that aside for when you come out, and they're going to give you that money. They're going to have to.
Why wouldn't they?
They're going to have to do that.
That's ridiculous.
Is that just 2 crazy weeks, or is this kid going to be a phenom?
He's the first player to do it since 1958.
Yeah.
He was good. He was an All-American this year. He's
a good player. He's the lowest scoring average in Florida State.
But being an All-American college versus being like finishing
100%, it's very different, and it's so different that it hasn't been done since 1958. He would have won $710,000 the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, almost 800,000. Yeah, but it's like, yeah, man. Why wouldn't you? What are they doing with that money? Do they just give it to the grounds?
It goes to the next guy. It goes to the
That's ridiculous.
Props to Battle's End, by the way.
Yeah,
for
on the
supporting
sleeve
him.
right there.
Yeah, he's got Battle's End on his sleeve.
Hey, I got to give Luke
Battle's End might have to pony up.
Well,
more golfers.
They're making the announcement this week. He was under an expiring contract with Battle's End. I texted Ingram while he was kicking ass a week ago and said, "What are we doing here, my man? This is pretty good." He goes, "He's due for a new contract. We're working on it." I'm like, "Did he finish a second? How much are you going to owe him?"
You get a commission over there?
I should.
I'll
Luke,
say this.
I'm right here for you, baby.
I want Luke to stay here all 4 years. I want him to help lead Florida State to a national championship in golf and elusive.
I'd have been gone.
I don't want Battle's End to spend I want a good cornerback next year.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I don't need my number one golfer back if it excludes the cornerback.
I'd love for him to get rich.
I imagine there's some donors who want to support the golf program.
Sure. Okay. Good.
And are not taking away money from the next.
But that's
wide
crazy.
receiver.
What an amazing accomplishment to finish top 10
it's crazy.
on the PGA
Twice.
2 weeks in a row.
Matthew writes, good day, gentlemen. Thank you, as always, for providing great content for us Nole fans every week. My question for you all is, what position group will need to make the biggest strides in camp for this team to reach its full potential? He says his money's on the offensive line. Well, you always want a dominant offensive line, so it's hard to argue against it. But who has to take the biggest step forward for this team to reach its potential?
Yeah, I don't know if that means from the spring or from last year. If we're going last year, I probably would say offensive line.
From last year.
From what we saw in the spring, though, because I liked what I saw in the spring from the offensive line. I wasn't in love with what I saw from the receivers.
You weren't.
So that's what I would like to see.
You had a concern about that. It's funny. It comes up every now and again, all our concerns.
Yeah.
Mine might be linebacker, for example. Not everybody knows that. But his is offensive line or receivers, excuse me. What's yours, Ira?
I think, and it's not a position. It's specifically about a position group.
Would you say tight end?
You just got a player
What would you say?
No, I was just going to say what I said earlier about the defensive structure and just not giving up big plays. But if I had to pick a position group, I'd say wide receiver. Although, like I said last week, I think because of this style of play, they're not going to have to win a lot of 50-50 balls. I think it's going to be more about Jaylen Brown running past somebody, Malik Benson running past somebody, Kentron maybe making some back shoulder throws.
That'd be fun.
But hitting those deep balls is going to be
the Pokey Wilson. Going back to the Pokey Wilson days.
R.A. writes, gentlemen, the success of Luke Clinton, people are in this Luke Clinton deal, should be a national story about the success of NIL and the battles in. He's successfully able to compete, not be forced to give up his senior season to have earnings and pay for room and travel as he would have in the old system. That's a fair point.
It was crazy, man. Like it still is, I guess. Yeah. The golfers and I think tennis players that start on those junior circuits where they have to like cobble together money to make their traveling and all that. It's a tough gig.
For years, golfers had to do this. They were event to event driving their car. Some people were famously sleeping in their own car and all that. Man, that's a rough
I
gig.
hope if he really does come back, because this is unprecedented, as Jeff said. 1958 might as well be, 330 BC. Like that doesn't matter in current climate of sports and money. For him to say after finishing second, no, I want to go back and help Florida State win a national championship, and he actually does it, that he should be really celebrated, because this is crazy that the amount of money his name might never be hotter and bigger than it is right now. And for him to come back to school.
Well, the good thing is he can get NIL endorsements.
Yeah, he can.
Like Nike could sponsor him, whoever.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
And he's going to make some money.
Maybe the PGA will sponsor him.
I think it's a little bit easier nowadays. There are revenue streams for him that didn't used to exist. Tony writes.
Glenn pointed out that Scotty Scheffler still drives to tournaments.
He does. And rogue cops decided to jump on a
Whatever,
car.
man. Scheffler tried to run people over. You know who I am?
Sure.
Scotty Scheffler. Get out of my way, cop.
Tony writes, I know Jeff said 2 years ago was Norvell's biggest year because a bad year would have been dead man walking. But I argue that this year is even bigger. Ooh, Tony, I disagree with you. We need to take over high school recruiting in the state of Florida in a third year of 10-plus wins in a row and another 10-plus draft picks go into the league. Keep Mario and Billy buried, basically, is what he's going to go on to tell you. They will continue to negatively recruit Norvell so long as he doesn't continue to stockpile these kinds of seasons.
So on that note, I've got a video dropping today, guys. On the Warchant TV. Okay. Not with you guys.
No, I wasn't involved in the video.
Me and Tom
I
Lang. It's well, it may not be my most popular video of all time, but it's my defense of Randy Shannon.
I'm not watching it.
I mean,
don't even.
I'm telling you,
where did that even come from?
I'll lay it out there.
No, don't do that.
Well, he's not even going to watch the video. You're just like everybody. You just won't listen to the other side.
I'm being overly emotional. And I'm gonna calm down and watch.
Have yourself a nice beverage.
I'm gonna.
What kind of crap is Irish selling today?
Yeah.
To the first part of that question, well, he doesn't maybe even get to 2024 if he doesn't have the good year in 2022.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Clearly 2022 is more important than this year because he's already established himself. But I understand the sentiment of the question, and it's true. And with good recruiters like Randy Shannon,
he's
let
me just touch on the one thing, the reason it's relevant to this question.
Oh, okay. I was wondering because I was wondering how this got interjected into this question.
Because my point was that if one of the points I make in this very informative video, guys, you should watch it, is that if Randy Shannon left tomorrow, like if Mike Norvell got rid of him tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't want him fired today.
Tomorrow would be fine.
July 10th.
Is Mike Norvell going to go hire a hotshot recruiter? Is that what, based on what you've seen from Mike Norvell, the staff he put together here, and how he's replaced coach when Chris Marv left, he went and got Randy Shannon, who is not a hotshot recruiter.
No, not at all.
My point is that's not. I don't think that's what he prioritizes on his staff. Now you could say at the end of this year, if they're 15th and not in the top 10, or next year if they're still not in the top 10. Then I think you turn the attention is on Mike Norvell. You've built this staff. You've decided what you prioritize as assistant.
Oh, we're already in agreement on something, by the way.
So that's one of my points was, like, you guys can be mad at Randy Shannon. It's not like he was billed as some hotshot recruiter and has failed to meet expectations.
No,
that's not what they hired.
And in fairness, so this works out well. I first guessed the hiring. I'm on record as saying I hated the hire the day that he made it.
But that's how he hires.
But that was in my opinion, that was a terrible hire for a lot of reasons.
It was a terrible hire. Look at their
this
defense.
Isn't the Randy Shannon
Randy Shannon is not the reason that defense is kicking ass.
Part of
this isn't the Randy Shannon hour. What are we doing? Next question. Good grief. We can't. We're not litigating.
You put out a video to retort my video.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll just be arguing about Randy Shannon for a month.
It's July.
All day long.
And guess what? I ain't watching that one.
There you go. I just said I would watch it. Yeah. Will the city of Tallahassee be prepared for SEC crowds? The city of Tallahassee.
Be prepared?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I mean,
sure.
Look, man, I will
They've
say
hosted
this.
big games around here for a long time.
Big games here for 40 years almost. Yes. Now, if you can handle a game of the century with Miami fans in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
You can handle whatever they got.
There were a lot of them.
Whatever
there
Georgia and Auburn
are
going to bring. Yeah. And frankly, Auburn and LSU have been here before. Florida's been here forever, so they can handle it. It'll be just think about Friday nights before Boston College games, and just like the electricity in the town, which is like there is none.
So I'm going to say this really quickly.
How maybe it'll be a little different if LSU's in town.
When Florida State would take on a Notre Dame, I remember when USC came to town, going back a ways.
Carson Palmer was their quarterback.
Yeah, I can remember the biggest games against Miami, those games of the century you're talking about. Obviously, some massive games when Spurrier and the Gators would roll into town. There have been a slew of all-time great moments inside Doak Campbell Stadium, some that ended disastrously and some that ended gloriously. But the point would be, one of the things I liked about that, especially when Florida State was omnipresent in the top four, was that when I would do radio shows from a bar that's now defunct called AJ's. You guys remember AJ's?
Yeah, we all do. Yeah.
And on Fridays, we would do those shows.
What's there now? A Chick-fil-A or a
It's just
Starbucks?
a disaster and sad.
Oh, okay.
But I would remember walking outside. That's Tennessee Street right there. And it was thick. It was in the air. You could just sense the excitement, the energy. It was Thursdays when you go. It's nuts. And it happened so frequently back in the 90s. It was just always a thing. Florida State, Tallahassee not only handled that, they were really good about it. This was a place to be. It's a college town. And there is more to do than just college stuff. But, man, this can handle it just fine. And, in fact, I welcome it big time because I miss it. I miss those days where it was happening so frequently. And I just – because you started talking about those games, and I just remember what the atmosphere was like on Fridays. It would be like that again. Let's admit it. It would. I mean, if all of a sudden your schedule is Tennessee and a Georgia and a Florida and an Alabama at home in a given year, sweet Jesus.
Even Ole Miss.
Yes,
Mississippi
of course.
State. Those fans are going to come, and it's going to feel different than – it's going to feel a little different than Boston College and Virginia.
Yeah, it'll be a different tenor. Probably not as many of those marquee weekends if it's the Big Ten.
Right, but you still get a couple of those.
But
still get Ohio
Michigan,
State,
Penn State, Ohio
fans.
State.
Yeah.
I mean, Wisconsin, their fan bases.
Well, now Oregon and other. Yeah.
I mean, they'll be more
Washington,
educated,
USC.
obviously, those fans, because they're from AAU schools, which is a big deal. That's
Big
all
deal.
Big
And you
Ten
can
cares
tell.
about.
You can just tell just walking around.
Yeah, this is an AAU school. They do research here.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Folks, it's me, Mac and More, spokesperson for Tallahassee's favorite Apple and Mac product store, Mac and More. We all know what Mac is all about. It's your MacBooks, iMacs, Apple Watch, iPhones, iPads, we've all got them. But what's really cool is the and more. And there's a lot more at Mac and More. They can help set up your new gear, migrate and back up your data, teach you new tricks, and how to use everything better. And if something costs too much to fix, they'll tell you the truth. There's a lot more at Mac and More. See for yourself at macandmoresystems.com. Or you can take it from me, Mr. Mac and More.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Every journey starts with a first step, a daring step. But what they don't say about first steps is that you have to keep going, taking step after step, and eventually you take a big leap, accomplishing more than you ever thought possible. After 57 years, Tallahassee Community College is soaring even higher, and we're now officially Tallahassee State College. We invite you to take a step and visit Tallahassee State College. Learn more at tsc.fl.edu.
You probably already know that Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is your one-stop destination for all pool maintenance needs, offering everything you need from chemicals, cleaners, vacuums, nets, and more. But that's not all. Pinch a Penny also carries a huge selection of premium hot springs hot tubs paired with easy financing options, making these luxury hot tubs affordable for everyone. And if you have an older hot tub and you're worried about the hassle of removing it, worry no more. Pinch a Penny will not only remove and haul away your old hot tub, but also offer a trade-in value for a credit towards your new one. So why wait? Visit Pinch a Penny's 12,000 square foot showroom today on Greer Road and discover how effortless and affordable owning a fantastic hot tub can be. Find out more at TallahasseeHotSpring.com. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com.
Surprising flavors, cultural authenticity, and unique adventures are some of the main ingredients that go into every single plate served at Café de Martín, Tallahassee's best Peruvian dining experience. Led by classically trained Chef Martín, passion for culture, passion for flavor, and a passion for people can be felt from the moment you step inside. Café de Martín also offers an unparalleled outdoor dining experience in the garden. Surrounded by vibrant flowers and plants and nestled between carefully curated decor, the shaded and breezy outdoor garden features elegant live music regularly, and the romantic evening lighting makes Café de Martín the best place to share conversation and connect with the ones you love. Every dish is made from scratch, and every drink is handmade by trained bartenders, offering the very best margaritas and old fashions in the city. Take a trip to a Peruvian paradise right here in the capital city. Visit Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open daily for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Find the full menu online at cafedemartin.com.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Walter wants to know, he also says, good afternoon, if FSU goes to the Big Ten, which team will become our biggest rival? I say we should pick a fight with Maryland. It's a better ex-ACC team. While Corey may think they are still a problem, I say turtle soup is great.
Yeah, that was the last time they played Maryland, right? Was the
ass whooping. And then Van Pelt got mad at me when I interviewed him right after that game.
Yeah, that'd be a bummer if that wasn't the last time Florida State ever played Maryland. They'd have to play.
We'd all be devastated, wouldn't we?
It's just a good one to end on. It's a good one to end.
Whenever I think of Maryland, I think of being on the field after they beat Florida, and then Maryland did something or something like that happened, right? In order for Florida
Maryland
State,
beat NC State.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get them in the ACC championship if that Ponder couldn't play it.
Yeah, I mean, if Clemson doesn't go also, which I don't know, but then you're not going to have a natural rival.
Michigan,
Could you Michigan or could
they
you
still want revenge?
Could you? Could we kind of like inspire? Can the FSU fan base kind of pick a fight with like Southern Cal and force them
Too
into
far
being
away,
our rival?
we would never play them hardly.
Well,
I mean,
but-
if we're both in the Big Ten, that's still a lot of.
I would say Oregon would be a good one because of the
We gotta
way
pick
they
a fight
acted
with
in
somebody.
the Rose Bowl. But
Ooh,
I think
I
that's
like
a good
that.
one.
Mariota, we still have
they-
that hostility.
And
over
you
that.
know what? And deep down, they don't know what we know, which is that Florida State should have blown Oregon out and
Yes.
would have had they not done three things in
Well,
succession.
no, they didn't blow anybody out that year, but I think they win
Sure.
if they don't turn it over 9 times.
They were going to rush for
Plus,
350
more
yards.
than that,
That
they
day.
almost did.
I know, it's insane.
Lanning used to work for Norvell. I like, man. There's some natural. I think I like this,
maybe
man.
maybe
We can pick a
Oregon.
fight with Oregon.
I'd like
We
to
hate
pick,
Nike. The three of us collectively
Sure.
hate Nike.
I'd like to pick a fight with Ohio State or Michigan.
You
I
know
want
what?
that to be the annual. Let's get it on.
Although, if you like the idea of having a rival you can consistently beat, you might pick Penn State.
Well, you
'Cause
would beat them
the
every
name
year.
sounds good.
They just never beat anybody that matters.
Yeah, as long as you're in the top
Ask their
10, they
fans.
ain't
They're
beating
about
you.
done with
Yeah.
your boy. Yeah.
We can pick a fight with Penn State. That's my point. I think we need to pick. We need to decide who the rival's going to be.
Purdue.
We're not going to just let this happen.
Purdue.
Pick
But
a-
I like Purdue. I got a soft spot in my heart for Purdue.
But the thing we'd say is don't.
That's our
See,
thing.
that'd be on
Can
our
you
shirt.
do one of those for Illinois? Because I have no desire to go to Champaign, and I have been to Champaign, and
But
you don't want to be.
We
So-
also could have I don't know how long Siggs is going to last at Indiana, but
man,
but we
Yeah,
could
that
pick.
we could
guy.
pepper him with questions we know he won't like, which is all of them.
Hey, I Googled you, and you've never won anything really of
Yeah.
note. Comments?
Yeah. Your
You won at
thoughts about
James
this?
Madison. You won 10 games at James
Google
Madison.
me.
What kind of terrible scotch do you like to drink while you're mixing it with
Yeah.
water and way too big of an ice cube? Just to piss him off.
Yeah.
Cools or
Yeah.
like where would you go? That'd be kind of fun. R. Wilmer writes, thanks for taking my question from the best trio in the business. Do you all know what took place for Tramel Jones Jr. ranking to drop after committing to FSU, like our tight end did last year? Yay, sausage.
Yeah, and he didn't just commit; he shut it down. He locked it in with Florida State. He's been committed to FSU for like a year. Yeah, on 3
He
just
was a
came back.
soft commit.
Well, he was commit. He was commit.
I mean, but if you have to go lock down your recruitment
Yeah,
and
it's
shut
a
it
new
down,
thing.
I
It's
feel
a-
like that meant you were soft.
It's a new thing. But no, he that's fair, I guess. But he'd been committed for like a year. They just on 3 just updated the rankings. It's based on, I guess, going back and watching some films, camp performances, spring football performances. We're not part of that process. I can't tell you,
Yeah.
but he did get dropped down. A few of the FSU guys, a few got dropped down, a few moved up. It's the name of the game.
Nate wants to know, this is Ghost Pepper Nate, will there be more points against Georgia Tech or offensive plays for the game? I want to know, Nate, how you were
Offensive
sitting.
plays.
Yeah, I want to know how you were sitting around thinking about
Combined offensive plays?
this. Yeah.
Wait,
Well, no,
Oh,
offensive
just more
plays like
offensive plays, I guess. And
you're probably going to run in the mid 50s, probably with the new timing rule, which I don't like.
I think
Yeah,
it'll be
you're
a
not
little
sure.
more than
60,
yeah,
it could
in
be
the
60.
60s. It'll be in the 60s.
But you never know if Georgia Tech can ground out some first downs.
Yeah,
it's
fair
gonna
point,
cut
fair point, yeah.
So you might only run 55 plays in a game.
That'll resemble an NFL game.
But
That's
I
what
wouldn't
that'll be.
think their first game of the year. I know what they did last year, but I can tell you this: Georgia Tech's defense this year is better than LSU's defense was last year. That was a train wreck.
No, Georgia Tech's defense is terrible.
LSU's defense was historically terrible.
Georgia Tech's is pretty terrible.
All right, well, so either way, so
Ballpark.
let's say they're ballparkish.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to put up
Well, you're not
58
gonna have
points
Keon
in an
Coleman.
opener. You're
And
probably
you're
not
not
going
gonna
to,
have
or
Keon.
Jordan Travis.
And I'm going to argue that Georgia Tech's defense will be better this year than it was a year ago. So will LSU's, by the way. It'd be impossible not
No,
to.
but I was going to say, like, what are the odds that you score 58 points in an opener?
No,
But
probably not
Florida
good.
State almost could have last year, but
Yeah.
that's why I brought up that LSU's defense was so bad.
Henry writes, after reloading in the portal last year, Jeff dubbed spring practice the spring of hurt feelings. What's the catchphrase of this offseason? Oh, I did say that. I forgot about that.
But that was this past spring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was. I mean, that's the thing. They actually, from what I hear, like they had conversations with players like, hey, you're probably not going to start.
Yeah.
Or you
gonna hurt your
lost
feelings.
this job.
It's going to be toughy.
And the kids still wanted to stay. So, I don't know if there's a theme for preseason camp. I mean, I do think there's a lot of wide open jobs.
I do too. Yeah, it's a competition. The I'm struggling. What would it be? What is the theme for the fall? I mean, other than like they're going to hit the ground running. They got to install the offense now and get going because they play so early. I don't think they have time to be screwing around with guys that are third string.
Or coming up with mottos.
Motto.
You missed the mottos from back in the day, buddy.
Yeah. Not that one year.
No.
That 1 year.
Fellas, I hope you were able to pop off your fireworks after eating some holiday pie. From I-10, what are the chances we announce we're leaving the ACC from 110, what are the chances we announce we're leaving the ACC before 8:15?
It would be cool if they announced it on
I-10.
I-10.
Yeah.
They had a big parade.
I'm so used to seeing I and 10 like that.
Yeah, we're not going east to 95 north to play some of you ACC schools. We're going west. The odds, I
before
back
what?
and forth before August 15th, which is like to announce that they're going to be out next year.
Oh yeah, what's your take here?
I've gone back and forth. Originally, I was thinking it was probably close to 8 or 9. Some people are telling me maybe it'll be later, but
why would it be later? I mean, they pretty much made their intention known, right?
Well, if the legal stuff hasn't played out yet, then they may need to wait to see how that.
They would need to wait to say they're leaving.
Well, I mean, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. The legality, yes, I could be lost here, but I don't know why.
I wonder if the ACC will be stunned if Florida State comes out and says they plan to leave.
Hey guys, we plan to leave. We haven't had one.
Where'd this come from?
Yeah, we're not going to be here.
And the ACC's like, what in the world? This came out of nowhere.
Jared wants to know what non-FSU college football plays/moments left you absolutely stunned, such as this kick six. I was watching live when Miami didn't take a knee.
Well,
I'll give you one. I was watching live.
I was at Corner Pocket watching that, and I could not believe it.
I kept saying it beforehand. What are you doing?
Well, and see, at Corner Pocket, obviously the game's not on. They have music
hear,
on. And I'm like, well, they must have had – Georgia Tech must have had a timeout that we didn't see. And then I was on Twitter, and everybody was losing their minds on Twitter even before the touchdown.
Because I can't remember. I was watching it live, and I can't remember who the announcer was. I think it might have been.
He called them out.
Yeah, but he was like at the time. He's like, "What are they doing?"
Hasselbeck.
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh, and he nailed it. He nailed it twice.
He was.
He
before
first
the
guessed
play
before the first play. He was like, "Oh,
what are they doing here?"
When they lined up, you could hear him. He's like, "I
don't understand this strategy.
Why are you running a play?" Okay, and he's trying to bite his tongue because he's galled.
He's like, they're clearly not going to run the ball here.
Yeah, and then they did, and he goes, I don't understand that at all.
Oh, and it's loose.
It's the best. I was like, yes.
That's a good one. That play, the Duke. When Miami beat Duke on the
kickoff return, the
47 lateral, that was crazy. Especially because
they had 4 forward ones and 3 blocks in the back.
The knee was down and he still lateral. Yeah. That was a non-FSU.
The Boston College field goal against Notre Dame.
I was
from 93.
That's a glorious one.
Yeah.
I was living off of Ocala Road.
Yeah.
It knuckled through. It looked like it was going wide, and then it curved back in. And I ran out into the foyer of the apartment complex I was living in off of Ocala Road and hugged a stranger as we jumped up and down.
Yeah, because back then, you had to be in the top 2 to get to play for the championship.
That's right. Yeah, that play is amazing. Of course, the Colorado Hail Mary.
And is the fifth down play? Did
Missouri?
Did we know
Nebraska?
It was fifth down before?
But I don't think we were watching that.
So it was just after the fact.
Yeah, it was after the fact. But I also don't think that was like something people were watching.
By the way, Nebraska had a series of lucky moments. There was also the one with the kick. Your boy catches it. That's insane off the foot.
Yeah. There's been the Georgia losing.
By the way, was that
Auburn.
Eric Crouch making the catch?
It might be.
I think it's Crouch made the catch.
No,
play.
it wasn't. He might have been the quarterback, but it was a white guy.
Skinny white guy.
I see where you're going.
Well, we all look the same.
It wasn't.
So I think
Crouch.
I think it was.
I mean, there been some unbelievable ones. Georgia losing to Tennessee on a Hail Mary a few years ago. And
the LSU Kentucky. LSU Kentucky
that might
is
be
all
the
time.
best.
That's one of the greatest. And Jimbo's in the booth.
I was going to say the Auburn.
He's calling the plays.
Not the kick 6 game, but the Georgia game that Auburn beat.
Pass off
4th and 30, man.
Yeah,
and they just throw it in the.
How about last year's Alabama Auburn game?
Yes, yeah, that was.
How about that one?
I wonder if
Herb
Street
unbuckled his pants for.
How about the Florida shoe toss?
Ooh, I remember laughing.
One,
I just laughed hysterically. I'm like, really?
Was it Ole Miss the one time where the one kid
I think it was Mississippi State's guy that pretended to pee on the.
You know who that is? It's the superstar wide receiver with Seattle. The monster.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's him.
Man, that was awesome.
He's the one that pretended to pee on the, and they cost him the game.
His big ass.
The shoe toss. And then those are the 2 wildest endings, probably of our lifetimes, because the games are practically over. You just don't. Hey man, just put the shoe down, don't toss it, and hey, don't pretend to pee like a dog and we're out of here with this dub.
By the way, we're all Leonardo DiCaprio GIF on the couch when that happens. We're all all just laying there watching the game.
Like, wait,
Jesus, that just happened.
He just raised up his leg.
That's a flag. Oh no, you're gonna call. I hate it. It's funny when you're young, you're just like, you're incredulous. When you're older and you're a parent, you're like, oh son. You get very fatherly. You're like, you're not going to recover from that. I can't help you.
What do you do when, like, so you're watching a game and, like, your significant other is in the room, but maybe not focused, and something crazy happens, and then they're like, what? And you just can't even, like, I can't even communicate it.
You're
I will tell you, but I need
Give
to
me
see
a second to wrap my mind around what I think I just saw right here. Tom Lang will tell you, I don't know why. Everybody, all of us, three of us, any person on earth has this weird gift at doing something. I can tell you when somebody's fumbled before anybody else can tell you. And I can tell you the millisecond it happens, and I do not know why. Ball's loose. I don't know why.
By the reaction of like when they start looking back.
Something happens. I don't know why, but I've done it a ton in front of him. So he's like, how did you, like, I could just tell he was uncomfortable. It's usually like, there's something about the way the ball's situated. It's even before he gets hit. I'll be like, oh, ball's out. Right. And I don't know why, but I do. And that happens all the time at my house where my kids will be like, what the? He hadn't even handed it off yet, and you call ball out. I'm like, I'm just telling you, there's something awkward. It was off. The timing didn't look right. And I
like that Ponder Ty Jones.
If you could have only told Ponder.
Well, that was in slow motion. I was yelling, ball out, ball out. Oh, there it is.
Okay. He was going to be open. It was going to be a touchdown.
Fairgrounds. When that happened. We were doing a charity
Marcus
event.
Sims, too. Ball.
Oh, don't even bring that one up.
Well, those are both pretty
painful.
That
one really
losses.
bothers me because Florida State was so stupid and awful in that game, and defensively, it was Mickey Andrews' worst moment in his career.
And they still were about to win.
And they were about to win anyhow.
Yeah.
Because that poor kid for Georgia Tech got hurt at quarterback.
Yep. And Preston Parker made some big plays.
Yeah.
Devontae Richardson, I think, threw a pass.
Tom was in the stands for that game.
It was
buddy.
It was crazy. It was crazy. They lost a couple crazy ones to Georgia Tech.
God bless college football.
It's
we just
the best.
rattled off 35 moments.
Non-FSU ones.
I mean, we just like that. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
2 Tallahassee men are behind bars after leading deputies on a chase in Madison County Thursday, according to the Madison County Sheriff's Office. 20-year-old Daniel Isaiah Terry and 29-year-old William Litton, both of Tallahassee, face 3 drug charges each, according to the Madison County jail records. Terry also faces a charge of fleeing or eluding a law enforcement officer at high speed and causing great harm to a police animal, per the records. The arrest stemmed from an incident that unfolded in Madison County Thursday, leaving a canine deputy in critical condition and hospitalized due to suffering from a heat-related illness. Canine Archer was pronounced deceased on Friday. His passing is considered a line-of-duty death. Memorial arrangements will be shared at a later date. The last time a local canine officer died was in 2013 when Coda from the Leon County Sheriff's Office was shot in the line of duty. The LCSO canine deputy was trying to take down a suspect who fled after a vehicle chase. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Storms likely this afternoon, otherwise overcast. Highs level off around 91. Southwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, chance of thunderstorms. Lows level off around 77. Thunderstorms likely tomorrow, high of 90, a mix of clouds and sun. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 90.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Dream it, plan it, do it. Brian Barnard's Flooring America offers a straightforward way to shop with our streamlined shopping. Finding the right flooring is simple. Visit our newly remodeled showroom featuring the Room to Explore shopping experience, where our knowledgeable staff will walk you through the steps. Our family has been serving the area since 1976 with a local staff of more than 35 people trained in flooring sales and design. We know floors, and we know styles. Let us help make your home timeless. Brian Barnard's Flooring America, where friends send friends.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Let's keep it rolling here. Dear Jeff, Ira, and Corey, with fall camp fast approaching, what are you excited to see in camp, and what are you worried about heading into it? Thanks again, and love the show. That's from Jonathan.
Injuries, always the
yeah, always worried about injuries.
Almost a cliche, but it's the truth. You just hope you stay relatively healthy. You're going to lose some guys. It's just how it works, but you hope you stay relatively healthy.
Going back to receiver again, man. Like I'm curious if DJ and the receivers look better and have better chemistry and timing. They weren't bad in the spring. There were good days. There were other days that were not as good. Like they've had now, 4 months? They will have had 3 months to work on their own, and we've seen them out there working on their own. So,
backup QBs too. Want to see what they look like. I'm interested, genuinely interested in that.
Well, and I think Brock Glenn's going to be a good player for this group. I know that long term, we're not even sure he's ever going to be the starter at Florida State, but I like him, and Croman we like. So yeah,
well, he's an ACC champion quarterback.
There also are a couple additions that we haven't seen at all. Cam Riley, the linebacker,
the wide receiver, that I like.
Freshman receiver.
Yeah. Is it tomorrow the day that we get to talk to freshmen? Right.
We're going to talk to a few of them.
The new coming.
Danzy, right? The kid, local kid that's the track star.
Wheels, man. Wheels.
Yeah, 4 of them tomorrow, and I think more next week.
I almost feel bad for Danzy, not that he won't go out and be a stud, but good Lord, trying to be a running back, coming in here now. I mean, good Lord, they got more than 5.
But just physically, dude, this kid, he's a big, strong kid, long, and can fly. So
I wonder if they can put him at like slot receiver and get more use out of him.
Maybe linebacker.
Burke writes, in the win shares exercise, what percentage to win do you have in game 1 versus the Yellow Jackets? How many games, if any, would be less than 50% chance to win? I like that question.
I say at Notre Dame.
You think you have a less than 50% chance to win against Notre Dame?
That's got to be the answer, though. If there is one, it's that one or Miami, but I would say Notre Dame because of the weather, because it's not a conference game. It's in November, and you're trying to get into a playoff, and it is absolutely – it could literally be a meaningless game. It just could be a meaningless game. It's not for them because they got to beat as many good teams as they can to be in the top 12.
Say, they need to.
But for Florida State, it's not a conference game, and if you win your conference, you're in the playoff.
I get your reasoning, but
you think Riley Leonard's going to do better than Sam Hartman did for them?
I actually do. I think Riley Leonard's better than people realize. He was all beat to hell last year. I think he's a good player, and
I forget he's there.
It should be interesting.
Miami's going to be
the road Miami game, I think, is tougher unless they lose to Florida and just mail it in.
Yeah,
which they could. That game is huge for that program, and it's pretty big for the Florida program.
Where is that
as
game?
Well, it's in Gainesville.
It is.
Read that one. My apologies. If we go 12-0 before the playoffs, FSU would have won 31 games in a row, not counting the Georgia exhibition game. Should that count in the record books? No.
I mean. Yes, but no, because it's not like we think, in my opinion anyway, that if they had gotten to the playoff, I don't think 2 extra wins.
Yeah, we can't
make it a 21-game winning
streak.
You can't know that they were going to keep that winning streak going.
I've heard Jeff and Tom mention the August 15th date with regards to the FSU and ACC. Did not the original filing by FSU request to have 2023's date retroactively recognized as a notice of withdrawal?
They did. And again, like at the time, so what Florida State did when they filed their lawsuit, they put in basically that if everything goes their way, that they would consider the 2023 August 15th. But we know that doesn't really apply because they're going to be playing in 2024. They're playing that August 23 would have got them out for this season. They're playing in the ACC this season. So really it's just a matter of next year anyway. So yeah, theoretically, I guess the point would be that whenever they get out, they're going to say that classifies that they had already given their notice. I don't know if that flies yet or not. I understand what he's saying. I don't know that it's 100% accurate.
Miss Webb wants to party. And I can tell this because here's the question. Good morning, guys. Anybody else on the flight to Dublin arriving at 5 a.m. on the 21st from Charlotte on American? I hope to see all my Warchant homies on the flight. So let's go. That's what she's saying.
Yeah, she is a spirited Florida State fan on our message boards.
Mm-hmm.
She also volunteers at the Moore Center.
She does the extra point club too.
So she's definitely a Nole, and she definitely wants to have a good time. So yeah, man, we actually Kim and I finalized some plans last night.
Are we having a get together?
Yeah,
in Ireland.
Yeah, and somebody asked that in the chat. Warchant is definitely doing stuff in Ireland. We don't have the details yet.
And I have some details, but not all. And I'm doing a live show over there every day from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., which is 1 o'clock here. So we're doing that from a pub. We will announce the pub soon. Right. It will be in City Center in Dublin.
That's funny to think of those the guys in the pub, the regulars. Like, what is this?
It's going to be
what
great.
are we doing?
Hopefully they'll have like the how the little bands in the bar.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
They'll be in there. Let's go.
But
what are you doing with Kim?
We're going to do Galway. We're going to spend the first couple of days. We took your advice. We're going to spend the first couple of days in Galway.
And
fantastic. So that's going to be a good time.
Ira, do you get there on the 19th?
19th. Yeah.
I get there on the 19th. You get there on the 19th?
No,
that's right. You're doing something different.
Well, somebody's got to be here for some of the practices.
But he's staying over there.
But I'm going to stay after
September.
The game.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
I'm going to stay past the Boston College game.
Yeah.
I'll be back for the Florida game.
Well done. Guys, Ira's article on defensive ends, OBB and Jones is great as usual. Who rotates in as the 2s and 3s? What's their ceiling?
Man, I mean, obviously Sione Lolohea, who we mentioned earlier.
Absolutely.
Who goes by Nusi, I think is
who I like a lot, by the way, as a player. But I think he's more of an edge center.
Byron Turner Jr.
Yep. Who I also like, by the way.
Nice player. And I think he looked good in the spring.
Who's the next
guy? There's a couple options there. One is a guy that nobody's talking about. You talk about guys that nobody talks about.
I know who you're going to say.
Aaron Hester, I thought in the spring, man, he's impressive. He's unique because he's not 6'4", 6'5",
and I hate the number.
Yeah, it's a
I hate the number. You can't be a defensive end, Jeff. What are you looking at?
I wanted to see if Turner was a redshirt junior, and I was double checking the roster, and I was trying to
54 is not great either for a defensive end. 57 is atrocious.
Kevin Carter was 57.
Okay, was he really? I thought he was in the 90s.
Pretty sure he was 57.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, 57. That's a good one. Kevin Carter. That was 30-something years ago.
Hey, they don't kick Sampson outside all that often, do they? But he's quick, man.
Yeah, maybe if they did a 3-minute front, but and then Tomiwa Durajaye is the other one. The West Virginia transfer will be both inside and outside. They've got guys.
They got guys.
Yeah,
that's not terrible.
Mature, and that dude's a grown man too, man. He's played some football.
Big dude. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Got one question. Are you all getting EA NCAA 25, or is it just Tom and me that's been waiting 10 years? I will get it, Javoris. I have been waiting 10 years. I got over that after the first year, but I have a PS5 and my kids are of the age, and I will definitely be getting it, yes. And you can get yours, by the way. Games for Less on Appalachian Parkway. My man George been doing it for 30 years.
Not Games for More.
Games for Less.
Yeah, no, I'm not getting it. Brady, I guess, will get it.
Brady
and actually, I'm interested in him starting a dynasty. His dad
go.
started a dynasty.
I had a dynasty. You've had a dynasty. Ira's never played it.
No. He's been an old grumpy man since his early 20s.
Well, I met him. He was old and grumpy.
Madden was my jam. I love Madden
back in the day.
But then, man, once I got here, I had kids. When the college game,
couldn't no,
not my thing.
So I'm interested in Brady starting a dynasty and kind of reliving my it wasn't my youth, reliving my early 30s with Brady going through it.
See if I can get any more. By the way, I did all the Facebook questions for you there, Corey, and I've gotten the vast majority of these Twitter questions. Trailer Swift, it has been well discussed on this show and others, the correlation between ass and athleticism, speed, strength, etc. Anyway, at the ripe age of 57, and I mean ripe, what kind of NFL combine numbers do you think Selma Hayek would put up? I'd like to see her try. I'd love to see
Maybe
her.
That's why Aaron Hester wears that number. Selma Hayek's age.
Yeah, I mean,
it'd be fun.
Be worth watching.
It'd be like, let's go. Let's see the combine.
I don't know.
Let's do the 40. Let's do the shuttle.
Up. I don't think she's been 225 gets pinned to her.
No, I don't think she is either. Shady Tampa, Miami connection, and married bachelor since Mount Rushmores are hacky. Okay, who are your Beatles of FSU football history? Sorry, I couldn't read that. Who are our Beatles? We've done this. Who are the?
It's the same as our Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, it's the same as our Mount Rushmore.
I was gonna say, how do you?
I mean, Bobby's on there probably. Would you put Bowden on there, Jeff?
He has some other things on here that would have helped differentiate that, where you would have said like John, super talented, but a prick. Paul, talented and beloved. George, wildly underrated. Ringo, underrated, talented, a lot of talent around him.
Yeah, it's,
that kind of
too
thing.
late
So
in the
tough.
show. It's a good question.
Yeah, it's just
but
a little more nuanced than I realized.
Yeah, it's too nuanced. It's too a little too nuanced for.
How much time do we have?
We got a minute. We got less than a minute.
Maybe we could do it.
Go ahead. Okay, who's your George? Who's George Harrison?
Maybe
you can't do that.
Oh, I like this because I think I might say Rashad Green.
Okay.
You like that? You like that?
But he
don't
was
you?
never disrespected, though.
Wildly underrated.
Underrated, but
a lot
not
of people
disrespected.
aren't talking about Rashad.
George felt disrespected, though.
He did in that one documentary you see, but I mean,
Lavernius Coles.
Lavernius was uber talented,
and he felt disrespected.
Well, he got kicked off the team for something he wouldn't have been kicked off.
That he felt like P-Dub would have gotten kicked off, but only Lavernius did.
Yeah.
Now there were reasons.
Like, I don't think the context
reasons.
here
but
relates to the Beatles in any way. I don't think they were robbing.
By the way,
they weren't robbing.
Jameis,
they were not giving stuff at a
Jameis
Dillard's.
is the Lennon.
Yeah, but
I don't know. But
think
James is kind of
he's
beloved
not a
by
jerk.
people who
Yeah,
know
but
Jameis.
no, but he's an uber artist. Like he's a
yeah,
savant.
but his teammates like him.
Savant.
I think.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Oh,
I don't
Paul
think.
loves John. John loved Paul. They
There's a mutual respect there.
All right.
See, this gets difficult.
It's too hard.
My
to find.
Rashad Green is right for George Harrison. Damn it!
Can we do like Creed or Nickelback?
No,
that would be like
I
who
can't even
is
name
the
a
Creed
member of Nickelback? You can't.
I
even
think Rashad might be Ringo. I feel like Rashad could be Ringo.
Why would he be Ringo?
Just steady, man. Just he's a pro.
I'll tell you,
coming to
Randy
do
Moss is Pete Best.
Oh, what could have been? But nobody says the Beatles would have been better with Pete Best. The Noles would have won
Randy
like
Moss
19 national titles.
Oh, he's a Fred Rouse.
Randy
maybe.
Moss is their Keith Richards or something. Yeah.
Well, we tried. We tried
That's a hard
Ass
one.
Backwards podcast. We tried all we could.
Oh,
Sorry
Ric
about
Flair in the chat. I'm not even saying it.
that. This could be good.
Congratulations.
Did I miss it? I missed Ric Flair in the chat.
You can't say you. Why even bring it up? Hey, and Ric Flair, I'd love to see it, but I don't have a computer in
That
front
is
of me.
really well
We'll tell
done.
you about it
Going on
later.
a cruise,
Rick,
everyone.
you
Wish
won
me
at
luck.
the end. You
Wish
won
me
at the
luck.
end. Have fun on the cruise. Keep your shirt on. All right,
No.
everybody. Have fun. Peace.